Hello and welcome back to On the Workbench. Today we have a special treat here. We have the 24-volt Kobalt right angle drill. This has not yet hit store shelves at your local Lowe's. We've got a first look at this tool here for you here at On the Workbench. So let's take a look at the box. If there's anything interesting on it, first question, I was curious, since they usually show an array of tools at the top, if there's anything else that's showing up here that's not yet released. No, in fact, it doesn't even show the XTR tools, so that there's no extra bit of interesting information tucked away up here. We saw the chainsaw whenever it was released. I've got a video coming up about that. Also featured the right angle drill, was pictured on that. I think that's the same image on this box as is on the chainsaw. If we look at the back, we've got our basic specs here. 2,000 RPMs, 250 inch-pounds of torque, and then some more information about the battery and what it has. All right, so let's get to it. What do you get with this tool here? This is a bare tool. There is no charger with this. So in the box, we have a belt clip. We'll set that aside for the moment here. We have our user manual. And we have the tool. All right, so looking at the right angle drill here, we have a plastic chuck, which I think is an interesting choice. All their other drills have a metal chuck, whether it's the older, regular, I guess you call it the standard 24-volt drill, or the newer XTR drills. They all have all metal Jacobs chucks, whereas this has a plastic chuck, and I believe this is rated for 3/8 of an inch. This has two selector modes here on the back, 1 and 2. And then our in and out, or forward and reverse, is right here. This is interesting. It's recessed here in what I think is kind of an interesting way over here, so your thumb doesn't accidentally hit it. And so with this, you've got to be able to press or toggle this, and then there's a middle setting there for a lockout. And then you would press on the trigger. And then at the bottom here, we have 1, 2, 3, and drill. So rather than having a clutch mechanism, it's an electronic clutch here. There is no extra clutch up here at the top. All right, let's take a couple of measurements on this tool. So the first thing I think is interesting, if we look at this, you can see there's an extra little gap between the back of the chuck and the gearbox housing on the drill. I'm not sure exactly why they did that. It'd been nice if they could have reduced that length there a little bit. And to me, this is going to be the important dimension, because if you're buying a right angle drill, it's to fit into tight spots. And so this distance right here is checking in at about 3 7/8 of an inch. If the other important measurement here that may affect you without a battery, the base here checks in right at 4 inches. And this does have the little ring at the back that you could then put a lanyard through it. So if you're working up high, you could have a drop prevention on this tool. Since we know a couple of the tools do not work very well with the newer ultimate output battery, I would assume this works with it, but let's give it a quick shot and see if there's any issues with that. And so now we'll get to listen to the drill. And so it is a variable speed trigger. Just going by sound, there was about 4 different positions on this variable speed. So I'm not sure it's infinitely variable. Or maybe it was 5 speeds. And so that's in speed mode 2. If we go to speed mode 1, so in speed mode 1, I felt like there was definitely better control over the speed in terms of having a audible change as I adjust, as I pulled back on the trigger. And so there is no issue with the ultimate output battery. Now, looking in the other direction, looking at the length, The length of this tool, if we go from the top of the tool to the top of the battery, checks in at about 11¼ inches. If you want to include the battery and the battery base where it adapts, with the ultimate output battery, it's about 14¼ inches. Obviously, your mileage may vary based on what battery choice you choose to use with this tool. On this, there are a couple fans up here that are left open and exposed to be able to keep the tool cool. It's got the rubber overmold here on the grip. Just based on the date code on the tool that I received, I'm guessing this was manufactured in about February of 2020. All right, so let's take a look at the weight of this tool. I borrowed my wife's kitchen scale. Don't tell her, that'll be our little secret. I'll clean this up and take this back to the kitchen whenever we're done with this video. And zeroed it out, and so now we're gonna weigh this tool. I'm not going to put a battery on here at all because obviously your mileage may vary based on what battery you choose to put on the drill at any given point. And this is checking in at 2.973 pounds, 46.98 ounces, or 1.332 kilograms. So it's certainly not the lightest tool, but it's certainly well in line with what a tool of this class would weigh. So now let's check on this belt clip. This belt clip fascinates me because there are some of the belt clips on the older tools that are not compatible with the ultimate output battery. Just looking at the belt clip that's included with this, it appears like this is the newer style belt clip. And if I press this on the side, there is no issue with the ultimate output battery. And on this tool, there is a belt clip holder only on the one side, and it comes with a bit that can go into this plastic bit holder. You know, it's interesting with these belt clip holders. It'd be nice if Kobalt would release some a la carte or standalone belt clip holders so I could retrofit some of the other Kobalt tools that came with the older belt clip holder to be compatible with the ultimate output battery, but that is a conversation for another day. So in terms of this tool, obviously the most important part here is really the business end, because that's why you're buying this here, is for the depth and the power that you get. So let's put this through a couple quick tests here to see how powerful this drill is. All right, so to get started here, I've got a 3/4 inch auger bit here. This is perfectly sized for, or at least in the diameter, for trying to be able to install Romex through studs or joists. Obviously, if you're doing some of that stuff with a stubby, you'd want to use the stubbier version of that, but this will still show the same thing. And what the board I've got here is a piece of pressure treated lumber, just to up the stakes here just a bit. So let's see how this does. And we're going to start in speed mode 1. No problem. Let's try that in speed mode 2. And so you saw the tool cut out a couple times there in speed mode 2. Let's try one more of these holes in speed mode 2. Nope, I have to release the trigger and go again. Okay, speed mode 1 will work. I'm not sure in this case here particularly, you know, if you're needing to do that specific work, go into speed mode 1 versus 2, and you're going through 2x material, the net difference would be enough to really justify that difference. For our next test, I've got a 2 3/8 inch hole saw here. This hole saw does have some use. Now we're going to go down here to the base, and we're going to make sure that if I click on, I'm going to have to half press on the trigger here, and it gives me drill, which is exactly what I want. Hopefully you can see that. See if I can get that on camera. There we go. Okay, otherwise I've got the other electronic clutch, 1, 2, 3, and drill. And we're going to go with drill for this. And just for the record, this is a fully charged ultimate output battery. And we're going to go in speed mode 1. And so yes, this was able to drill a 2 3/8 inch hole in pressure treated wood successfully. Now I can tell just by touching this here, this definitely has some heat. It's not too hot to touch. There is the nice rubber overmold here on the end that I found myself putting my palm on to help press this in, to help add a little bit of extra downward force to get this through. So does this tool work? Yeah, it obviously works. And now for my next test, I got a 5/16 inch magnetic bit adapter and a 2.5 inch structural screw that we're going to see if we can put this into a 4x4 in speed mode 1. And let's take this out of drill and let's go to, let's put this on clutch setting 3. All right, so that last test here, we had this in speed mode 3. Now let's change this to speed mode 2 and see if that will help us to sink our 2.5 inch timber lock structural screw. So it didn't go in, it kind of gave up, but it didn't. I didn't hear any sign of a clutch kicking in. So let's dial this back to speed mode or torque mode 1. There we go. So this is our lowest torque setting. And so that cut off almost perfectly on that screw. It's just a little bit below the surface, but that's fine. And let's try this again, just with one hand on the tool. Perfect. I'm going to hit it in reverse. And it came right out. Let's jump. Now just for fun, let's put this all the way over into drill mode to see how far we can sink this screw. And so in speed mode, or the drill mode, it didn't seem like there was much difference, at least on this screw, between 2 and 3. Definitely a difference compared to 1. One more comparison I think we need to look at is anti-kickback. So on the XTR line of tools, Kobalt added an anti-kickback feature so that if I were to sit here and hold the drill and I jerk it really hard, as in a kickback scenario, the drill will cut off automatically. Let's watch that again. Let's watch that one more time. And just like that, the drill cuts off. So let's take a look at this drill to see if it'll do the same thing. So there is no anti-kickback protection in this tool. To be fair, it's not advertised or listed as having it, whereas the XTR drill did explicitly advertise and mention that feature as being included with it. But I just want to check this to see if this might have had it as well as an unlisted feature. So one quirk with this tool that I've noticed is that if I need to change the torque setting before I use it, or if it has timed out, in order for me to actually be able to change these settings here, I have to give this a half press on the trigger here, which activates the integrated LED light, and then I can change it. However, right now, since the last I used this was in reverse, the lights are all disabled. So then I have to put it over to forward, and then the light will come on, and now I can change it. So if you're using this with left-handed screws, left-handed fasteners, or left-handed drill bits, this digital clutch will not work in the left-handed direction. It just apparently gets completely disabled. So just a useful bit of information to know there. There is the LED up here. That's nice. There's no way to turn that on independently of the tool other than a half press on the trigger can activate that just briefly, and that's how you know you can change the torque setting here. And so overall, I think the tool feels reasonable in the hands. I've got no complaints with how this feels in the hand. It's got a nice slim profile, and the grip here is the exact same grip that you'd find on other Kobalt tools. This grip is not any fatter. There are some brands where the grip here is the same diameter as the rest of the tool body up here. But in this case here, this grip is the same size as on a regular drill. This leads me to my next point. This is not a substitute for a regular, normal drill. You're going to get far more done with this. It's going to have more power and the ability to use larger bits. This is a 1/2" chuck and this is a 3/8 chuck most notably. And so this does not eliminate this, but this certainly enhances the tools that you have available and your options for what you can use to get around. And in my opinion, the torque that we saw this put out certainly shows that this is a very versatile drill that is perhaps more than sufficient for a number of other smaller tasks and even some more substantial tasks that this may be up to the job for. My biggest knock on this, I think, is the fact that it's got a plastic chuck. It would have been nice if they would have kept the same chuck. I mean, look. If we look at these two drills here side by side, had they used a metal Jacobs chuck, it appears like it would have likely added just a touch onto the length of the tool. In my opinion, it wouldn't have added enough to be of any consequence and would have enhanced this tool, at least in my opinion. Obviously, your opinion, your mileage may vary. I'm having to guess approximately where that similar joint where the chuck connects here. And if I open up this chuck here all the way, there is a Phillips screw in there, so I suspect you could also probably remove this chuck and then replace it with a different chuck of your choosing if you so felt inclined. And so in wrapping this up here, I've got to give them some marks. I really like the rubber overmold here at the top. That felt very nice and confident to be able to press down on while using the tool. I don't think the weight is too bad. And, you know, for the right circumstance, that this is certainly a very useful extra drill. And so with that, I hope you found this video useful and interesting. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. Click the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.